Now you hear those beastly senators think that your condition is just a matter of working harder, living better, or just get up and move elsewhere. Your life is on hold as you are so ill you can barely work, let alone just pick up and move. You fear your family, your house, your whole life will be upended because a senator who believes that the amount of money you are worth is worth more than your life. Not enough time to save money when you are too busy trying to stay alive. My heart began to race out of my chest. She started to describe what I was feeling. You can't breathe. The panic begins to seize you as you think it's all for naught, all because those in the government think themselves better than you. The fear bleeding into your dreams, waking you in the middle of the night when you should be resting. No, you're catching your breath for the panic that the government has signed your death certificate. Not so easy to live a better life, is it? When businesses will leech as much money from the sweat of their workers' backs as you to your constituents, using your legislation of 7-something an hour, the minimum wage, while raising prices of their products in hopes that will make the CEOs rich. Forget good health insurance. They will weasel their way out of it to make them richer. With reduced hours along with reduced pay, which makes it hard for their workers to buy something as essential as food. Forget the products the businesses sell. So you have to sign up for federal assistance. When you shop, you will go for the cheapest and easiest pre-made food with your assistance, with all the sugars and chemicals that have been banned everywhere but here, that lead to the majority of the pre-existing conditions your health bill doesn't cover. But of course, they should just cook for themselves, right? So many of them work 60 hours a week. Some families, each parent working 40 plus overtime. Some at 8 to 10 an hour. Better than the minimum, but not near the 15 to 18 an hour they should have, to offset the inflation that good business has wrought on the economic infrastructure, weakening it more than strengthening it, for many need to have 2 or 3 jobs to make their ends meet, and you thought it was immigrants stealing American jobs. I sighed, thinking you're getting off subject, but I couldn't speak. Am I? She answered my thought as if I spoke it aloud. We talk of health care, and the money that your constituents need in order to acquire it. That surely is a part of the conversation, and talking of the difficulty of acquiring money, and therefore said health care, and the erosion it inflicts upon the health of your constituents would be a part of it, would it not? I gritted my teeth. I rolled my eyes at the crone, annoyed, to see one of the guards trying to bat his gun toward him like a cat on its back, batting the fringe under a table's cloth. We shall continue, then, she said, as the gun floated away from his fingertips. She walked forward, leaning on her elbows on the desk in front of me. Then I noticed the PVC gloves that hugged her skin, and the inch-long nails seemed to be a part of the glove, or the glove a part of her and the nails. I couldn't tell. Your heartlessness is beyond appalling. For money is why the bill was created, for the rich. When it passes, if that happens, thousands more than predicted will lose their health insurance, because the insurers, the states, and the businesses within said states would rather have more money than save the lives of their people, hindering the individual's prosperity that your ideals cherish. At the word cherish, the emanating pulse shook the Senate. There is no law that stops them from doing that, only a consciousness if they have one, and I assure you, they are as much a beast as you. What made you so cold and calculating to kill tens of thousands and more a year for a profit? How in the world does that fit into your beliefs of freedom, dignity, and prosperity? How does that make sense to you? Your core beliefs state that you help the unfortunate, yet by the stroke of a pen you would kill them all for profit. She turned again to those in the Senate. Do you think yourselves good politicians for what you've done? Do you think the people of the United States will forget the legislation of genocide you passed to scratch the backs of the rich? You think it will trickle down to the poor? It didn't 8+ years ago. It won't now. They'll just line their offshore pockets with it. We were in a recession, on the verge of another depression, and you're heading for it again. I mean, think about it. If you did what you claim to believe, you would legislate businesses to pay workers a livable wage. But we keep hearing over and over that it hurts business. But does it? What do you think it could do to the economy and for the businesses of the United States if they all could buy a house, and the furniture, and the plumber, and the electrician, and the exterminator, and the fancy car, and the cable or the dish, and the new fancy TV? If every person could contribute that to society and business, and they didn't need government assistance. Think about it. But your solution is nothing but a beast's bullshit sentiment. Work harder. You think they don't? You think the millennials are lazy? How they need to work 2 jobs in hopes of getting through college? Try a full-time job with children and 12 credit hour semester of finals and tell me they don't work hard. Allow for tuition-free college and universities. Allow them to concentrate in school. You'll get even better workers, or are only cheating jocks what make good politicians? I gritted my teeth, unable to speak, the feeling of lead still weighing on my limbs. All around her protested to her insult for me. Then I suggest you start listening to the constituents you claim to represent and start practicing some empathy instead of convenient apathy. For the pursuit of prosperity is impossible if you are sick and poor. So it would make sense for you to pass universal health care because it would allow the perseverance of the pursuit of freedom, freedom to be an entrepreneur without being buried in debt. How can they pursue the life they want if once again the government seems to be against them? My thoughts protested. Oh, what? They need to pull up their bootstraps? How exactly is a rich man laying in $1 million yacht as every poor person's tax dollars come rolling in, indicative of pulling up their own bootstraps? You see, Mr. Republican, you may have power to keep the poor under your merciful feet. They will carry you, but how can they continue if they are eroding from beneath you? As she spoke, the room started to shake, as if we were having an earthquake. A guard's eyes widened as he floated by, looking worriedly at the walls in relation to his current situation. She took a deep breath. As she did, the room grew still, and she continued. Which makes it hard for their workers to pay